This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 1695, The 3 Great Misconceptions About Retirement Saving, Part 1, by Darrow Kirkpatrick of CanIRetireYet.com. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. Now, I have a bit of a longer post today. I'll read the first half today and then finish the rest for you tomorrow. So let's dive into the first half and start optimizing your life. The 3 Great Misconceptions About Retirement Saving, Part 1, by Darrow Kirkpatrick of CanIRetireYet.com. Retirement planning can be hard. Annuities, estates, healthcare, retirement calculators, safe withdrawal rates, Social Security, taxes. There are many pieces to a successful retirement plan. But almost all of these topics boil down and feed into the one question that outranks all others. How much money do I need to retire? I've been a serious student of the retirement equation and retirement lifestyles for more than 10 years now. There's a lot to be said on these topics. Witness more than 200 articles on this blog and thousands more spread across the internet. I'm also a fan of simplicity, but beware oversimplifying the retirement analysis. When it comes to the question of how much, it's tempting to fall back on easy answers or expert opinions. But a realistic retirement plan, updated as you go, will be much more useful as you navigate the retirement years. When it comes to retirement savings, there are 3 misconceptions that outrank all others. Avoid these mistakes in thinking if you want to maximize your freedom, comfort, and peace of mind in retirement. Misconception number 1. You don't need to save because the government will take care of you. Most of you listening to this now don't make this mistake, but you aren't the average worker. For whatever reason, many Americans simply don't think much about retirement. To be fair, some are too busy making ends meet day to day. Some perhaps are intimidated by the numbers and the financial complexity. And some are lulled into a belief that government, in the form of Social Security, will take care of them. But that confidence is unfounded. According to the 2017 report by the Trustees for Social Security, the main Social Security Trust Fund is projected to pay full benefits only until 2035, 18 years from now. Without legislative action, the fund will incur a huge shortfall, able to pay only about 75% of benefits going forward. That news is bad enough, but consider that even if full Social Security benefits were preserved, they would likely be unable to cover all of your retirement living expenses. The average Social Security benefit is $1,369 a month. That comes out to about $33,000 annually for a couple, assuming both worked equally. While that's about twice the federal poverty level for a family of 2, it would hardly allow for a comfortable lifestyle in retirement. That's especially true in an urban area and given rising healthcare costs in later years. New Retirement reports that the median retirement income for households aged 65 to 74 is more than $47,000. Our own retirement budget is currently closer to their reported median for households aged 55 to 64, about $63,000 a year. Social Security, even if the politicians shore it up, doesn't come close to funding that lifestyle. In a recent survey from Merrill Lynch, 81% of Americans reported not knowing how much money they need to fund their retirement years. The National Institute on Retirement Security reports that median retirement account balances for all working age households is a mere $2,500, and for near retirement households is just $14,500, maybe enough for a few months of retirement living at best. Not only do the majority of Americans not have a clue how they'll fare in retirement, but once they find out, the news is going to be very bad indeed. Sure, there are wealth inequalities in our society that exasperate these numbers. And the simple fact is that those of us who work in higher paying careers will have an easier time saving for retirement. But the fact remains, No matter your income level, if you want to maximize your freedom in life, working or retired, you need to plan on providing mostly for yourself rather than relying on others, including the government. Misconception number 2, you need millions to retire securely. Ask a high-end financial advisor, the kind who advises clients with net worths approaching 7 digits, what you need to retire, and they're likely as not to throw out a number of $3 to $4 million. Friends of mine who are physicians and other high earners confirm this anecdote. But financial advisors can have serious conflicts of interest when it comes to computing your retirement number. Unfortunately, the profession has strong incentives for being overly conservative and lots of cover for doing so. For starters, the most prevalent compensation model for advisors is still a percentage of assets under management. And guess what happens when you retire? Yes, you start spending those assets that your advisor is collecting fees from, and their income goes down. Secondly, liability for the advisor is more clearly connected to you running out of money than you having too much money in retirement. There's little risk to an advisor in you working 5 or 10 years longer and dying with a few extra million on hand, and your kids will love them for it. However, if you run low during retirement due to professional advice you received, there will be and possibly lawyers to pay. But it can make sense for some to take on a bit more risk and retire earlier. For example, I retired more than 6 years ago with a fraction of that big number in the bank, and we're doing fine. We haven't had to sacrifice much, nor have we taken on a dangerous level of risk. In the early years of our retirement, we watched our money extra carefully, but in recent years, we've been spending more on recreation. And still, thanks in part to the rising bull market, a small inheritance, and modest earnings from this blog, our net worth has increased since we retired. Our finances are on track to last our lifetime, and we are enjoying a decade or more of free time denied to more conservative planners. To be continued. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled 3 Great Misconceptions About Retirement Saving by Darrow Kirkpatrick of caniretireyet.com. One of the most challenging parts of real estate investing is finding a deal that actually meets your investment goals. You've probably spent a ton of time scouring properties and plugging the numbers into spreadsheets, only to be disappointed that it didn't check out. Investing in real estate can quickly become a full-time job. The team over at Awning is trying to change that. Awning is a real estate investing platform that really puts the passive back into passive income. They're a brokerage, just like you're used to, except they have technology superpowers to help get the most out of your investment. Awning takes in your investment goals, pairs you with a dedicated advisor, and uses some pretty incredible technology to find and surface the best opportunities for you as soon as they become available. Awning's platform shows you everything you could possibly want to know, from rental and appreciation estimates, neighborhood trends, school scores, and more. If you're looking to supercharge your investment search and want to close on better deals while investing less time, give Awning a try. Head on over to awning.com/OFD to start fast-tracking your real estate investing process. That's awning.com/OFD. I'm really enjoying this article so far, and I hope you are too. When I started saving and investing for retirement, I did so under the assumption that Social Security won't be available for me, or that the benefit would be such a small amount that it's not worth thinking about. I'm pretty much a typical millennial in that regard. According to a recent Transamerica survey, 80% of millennials worry that Social Security won't be around when we need it. And while none of us can know the future, I did see a few compelling arguments as to why some experts feel that Social Security will survive. While the trust fund is scheduled to be depleted by 2035, it's probable Congress will intervene, as it did in 1977 and 1983, to strengthen Social Security's finances. That's because Social Security is an enormously popular program with bipartisan support and influential lobbies, including the almighty AARP. I also might be underestimating the value of Social Security to begin with. The Urban Institute estimates that millennials are projected to receive twice as much as the current benefit, about $1 million for an average income single adult and $2 million for a couple. Some Social Security experts say that a worst-case scenario would be to assume you'll get 70 to 80% of what your Social Security statement projects. And here's something I had no idea about. You should make sure your earnings are reported correctly to Social Security every 2 to 3 years. Your future Social Security check will be based on your 35 highest earning years, but they need to be reported accurately, which doesn't always happen. You can correct those errors, but it can be really difficult if you catch them decades from now. If your employer goes out of business before you catch any errors, the needed documents may be unavailable. So I, for one, will be setting up an account on the Social Security Administration's website to review my earnings, and I hope you do too. Well, that should do it for today. Have a happy rest of your day and great weekend, and I'll see you in the Halloween episode tomorrow, where we'll finish up this post and where your optimal life awaits.